Well, just like you said, the little kid that gets the poster or the picture, that could be the very day one where that kid is like, I'm going to get a motorcycle. And, like, that's the thing that he grows up in 10 years from now. He's asked, what got you into motorcycling? I was at the stunt show when I was 10 years old, and they gave me a picture and a poster, and I've wanted to ride a motorcycle ever since.
I love that.
That's what happens all the time.
Yeah.
So just think about that.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Drea Stunts, and this is the Get Vertical Real Talk podcast. This is a Harley stunt riding podcast. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas that will actually help you level up your stunt riding game professionally. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Emily. She's the marketing manager of Scottsdale Harley-Davidson, the world's largest dealership. I really go deep into having her answer your biggest questions about booking shows, insurance, how to work partnership deals with them, and sponsorships, and all of the things that are never spoken about. So this is such a hot topic that I've had a marketing manager on before, and she actually had me delete the podcast because it was such a touchy subject. So I'm happy to introduce you guys to her. She has a different perspective on stunt riding because her brother-in-law is actually Ben Kyle.
Like, if you're going out to the parking lot and you're really pushing and you're not wrecking your bike, like, you're not pushing hard enough.
And if you haven't seen his podcast yet, definitely check it out. We talk about Emily a lot in there. Yeah, she's really knowledgeable about stunt riding outside of work. So she definitely has a different perspective on all of this and shares some insights that you will need to know. So get out your pen and paper and help me in welcoming Emily. What's up, Emily?
Good. How are you?
Good. For my audience, can you introduce yourself and your affiliation with Harley-Davidson?
Yeah, so my name is Emily. I am the marketing and event manager for a chain of 7 dealerships, most of which are import stores, but I do work for one of the world's largest Harley dealerships in the country, so it's pretty cool.
How long have you been doing this?
God, I started in motor clothes, so in the clothing department 12 years ago, but I've been doing marketing and events for about 6 years now.
Okay, so I specifically wanted you on to help my audience understand how to partnership with their local Harley-Davidson dealership.
Okay.
And the reason why is because none of this shit is written down anywhere. And I oftentimes see riders really wanting to take that next step and be a little bit more professional, but they don't know how because, like I said, it's not really written down anywhere for specifically Harley riders trying to partner with their dealership. And I'm sorry to say this, but I see a lot of cringe stuff out there.
I get a lot of cringe messages.
So let's start with that, okay? So what is something that you often see that is a common theme with people reaching out to you that is something that's like a turnoff?
I mean, the biggest one is even girls, like, I'm going to slide into your DMs and all it is, yo, hire me. Or I can do stunts, hire me. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Honestly, the biggest thing, whether the dealership is big or small, go in there. Start making friends in there. Go to their events. Go, just introduce yourself to some of the salespeople, someone in marketing, just so they start seeing you. Make sure, you can send them a DM. By all means, send them a DM, but make it a little bit more thought out. Like, hey, I've been riding for X amount of years. Like, check out my Instagram page. Most dealerships want to know how much. So kind of put that in there. Like, do you carry your own insurance? Stuff like that. Think of it more as a resume than just, hey, I got to send them a message. try to get your face known in there and think of it as a resume that you're sending to this company to get yourself hired.
Because it is basically like a job.
I mean, yeah, if we're gonna pay you, it's a job. We're hiring you for a service, for an act, for something. Like, you have to prove that you're good. I can't just hire like a band off the side of the street. I don't know if they're good or not. Like,
Or they're gonna even show up.
yeah. I got, like, your Instagram, just, if that's how you're gonna approach the situation, then your Instagram needs to be clean. You need to be presentable. But same thing if you're going to come in. Like, you need to be presentable. You need to be, like a resume. Like, have it thought out.
So you mentioned, like, your Instagram needs to be clean and presentable. What exactly are you looking for, and what turns you off again?
Yeah.
What is some things that you've seen where you're like, I don't know, I don't think that my GM will be cool with this, or this isn't really representing our brand professionally?
I think it varies by dealership and maybe like area that you live in. I think it varies a little bit, but for the most part, I feel like dealerships don't want to see you like partying every weekend and like smoking, doing drugs, and like slamming beers while you're riding. Everybody knows you're out doing that. That's whatever. But when you're posting your stunt videos and stuff like that, like, we want to see that you're still being safe about it. If we hire you here, like, I can't have you slamming beers in the parking lot. I can't have you, doing things like that. Like, I still have to hire a professional act. As a dealership, we're still promoting safety. We're still promoting family. We're still promoting all of that. So, I mean, we want you stunt riders in a helmet. We want you don't have to be in full gear. Don't be in full gear. That's fine. But I can't have you like in a Speedo. I can't have you in no helmet, and it doesn't look good, and I can't have that like on the grounds, because again, at the end of the day, we're still trying to promote somewhat safe riding.
Yeah,
somewhat. We know it's not.
Yeah.
We know it's not, but it still has to be somewhat.
Yeah, totally. So what happens behind the scene when you do present a stunt rider? Because you have someone that you have to go to confirm all your partnerships. You have to go to your GM, right?
Yes.
So what goes on behind the scenes when you're trying to say you finally pick a rider and you have to go to your GM and you say, I would like to partner with this rider for whatever reason. What's the conversation like?
That me and him are having?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it boils down to cost. Do they have insurance? Are we going to have to provide barriers? Do they provide barriers? These are all like extra costs that people don't necessarily always like think about. I can't just have an open, race or something in the parking lot. That, like, there still has to be barriers between the crowd and the riders. I still have to have it safe for people. Like, I can't, things go wrong. I can't have anyone fly into a fence and a customer be injured. That would be terrible, and it would ruin it for everybody. So all of these things go into our conversation. The safety risks, cost, what their advertising is going to look like how are they going to help? Yes, they're going to be putting on a show, but are they going to be talking about it? Are they going to be sharing it on their Instagram? Like, hey, come see me at this dealership on this date. Are they going to be telling all their friends about it? Like, it has to be like a give and take relationship. Like, the dealership is, if they're hiring you, they're going to put their money and their resources into, making it a great event, but you also have to put your resources into making it a great event as well. So those are kind of weighed as well, of like who's going to be more beneficial to each other.
Yeah, I love how we were talking about off camera, comparing it to hiring a band. because that's a good comparison, because it's hard for a lot of stunt riders to understand that you're like you're being hired for entertainment. Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode. Real quick plug, I want to invite you guys to our online wheelie coaching course. This is exclusively made for Harley riders. We created a 3-stage progression method that is guaranteed to teach you how to wheelie. This is for day one learning riders. It's broken down from day one all the way to balance point. With this course, you get our exclusive members only Get Vertical app that makes it easier to access while you're at the lot practicing. You also get to join our Facebook community where we have a group experts in there all ready to help, and other Harley stunt riders learning from each other. You'll also get invited with online group coaching with Bruce and I, where you can ask us direct questions about your progress and any struggles you're having. You can sign up at getverticalcoaching.com. Link will be in the description. Anyways, back to the show. If you're being hired for a show, it's like being hired for being a band that's being hired. And kind of talk about what we were talking about off the camera about fans and.
Well, yeah, just like bands. I mean, I'm going to hire a band to play on our stage that is going to be talking about it. They have to, are they going to be willing to put it on their website? Do they have a following? Are they going to be able to, talk about it at some of their other shows that are upcoming? Like, hey, in a month, we're playing at Harley-Davidson. Come see us there. So it goes that way, too. Like, I can't just hire someone that's not going to talk about it, because it's not going to be beneficial for anyone. So I'm trying to get people here to, at the end of the day, purchase a motorcycle. And sometimes when I hire a band, or if I hire a stunt rider, they're going to bring their friends, and that's going to be like situation number one. That's going to get them intrigued that they saw something cool at the Harley dealership, and they're going to hopefully want to buy a motorcycle.
Which is the goal. Which
is, at the end of the day, the goal for the dealership. You guys are here to, get your views, get paid. It's a show, but at the end of the day, for the dealership, like, we're also here to make money, and we do that by selling motorcycles.
That makes total sense.
So I have to build. My job is to build that excitement to want to buy a motorcycle
and get people here.
Yeah.
So how important is a following? Is that something that you really, really think about?
Yes and no, because I'm also like such a firm believer that like social media isn't everything. But at the end of the day, like right now, it kind of is. Like I don't want to hire somebody that has 100 followers and they're not going to make that reach and be able to talk to anybody or get anyone here, as much as I would love to. But I also know of 20 other riders that are over here that have 5,000 plus following, and I need the event to be seen.
I love how you mentioned like 5,000 plus, because some people think that they need 100,000 followers.
No.
I think if you build your local community massively, like say you're just present in the local community, that's almost more powerful than having 1,000 out of state or out of country followers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because for your local dealership, if you have 5,000 local riders following you and you're promoting your event, that's going to get at least a couple hundred riders into your dealership.
Well, or not even riders. I mean, a lot of these people just like follow some of these local riders because they're friends with them. They went to high school with them. Yeah. They work with them, like stuff like that. So they may not even necessarily be interested in the whole scene, but they're friends with that stunt rider and they're local people. Those local people will then come support your local show at your local dealership because they feel like it's not, it's not intimidating or anything like that. Like, oh, it's a big event. We can go watch this, my coworker or my friend or my cousin or whatever go and ride.
Yeah.
It's only 20 minutes down the street. Let's go. But then that may be their first time that they've ever stepped foot in a dealership. So that's a win for me.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, this place is cool. maybe I need to buy a t-shirt. Maybe I need to buy a shot glass.
Or maybe they see that
The community. They see,
bikers aren't scary.
Yeah.
They have families too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a motorcycle.
Or they see kids here. They're like, oh, wow,
Or
I
women.
can bring my kids. They see, yeah, exactly, female riders here. A lot of females are intimidated, and they don't want to step foot in here, but then they see how many women are here, or they see a stunt show that has a female rider in it, and they're like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. And that just gives them the confidence, and that's another touch into getting them into a motorcycle at the end of the day.
So when so obviously there's maybe 3 ways you can partner with a dealership. Would be shows as a stunt rider or like a rider, shows, street rides, and maybe like partnering with content.
Yeah.
So shows are a big one that a lot of people just have no clue, and I think that once again, it's not written down anywhere. There's not like a book written. There's no blog written online about it.
No playbook.
Yeah, no playbook or map on how to do all of this. So a lot of people are just winging it. 1, they'll either do it for free. 2, they approach you in the DMs saying, hey, I can do shows. And they have no idea how to even put one together. Is there any advice that you can give for someone that has never done a show, that wants to get started? They just have no idea
where to go
or how.
It all starts with the dealership or where you're trying to have the show at. Like, don't be scared or like embarrassed to go in there and just ask to talk to whoever does marketing or whoever does events. Just brainstorm. From my experience, most people in my position, they like to just be approached. They don't like to be the ones like with all the brainstorming ideas all the time. Like, we have things that we want to do, but we also need the help from somebody else to do it. So if you're not going to be scared to at least make that first step to approach the dealership, then you're already halfway there, because the dealership may not know how to get something like that going either, because they may not, know any of the local stunt riders in their area or anything like that. They don't know how to, reach out to somebody. They may be following them, but you never know the situation. But if you're wanting a show there, don't be scared to just go in and start brainstorming ideas. I have people that come in all the time like, hey, I want to do this ride, but I don't know. I don't even know where to start. Like, I want to start here or I want to end here, but I don't know what to do. So then just starting that conversation helps me, because I'm like, okay, well, what kind of time frame are you thinking? Like, what kind of time of day? If you are to do this, then I can do this. And then like ideas just start building from there. So
it's a collaboration.
Yeah, so make that first initial step like, hey, I would love, you have a strip of parking lot out here. I would love to do, a wheelie competition or, whatever the case may be. I would love to do a stunt show. I can help. I have a friend that can help get barriers. What other kind of stuff do you need from me or my group of friends to help get something like this started? And that'd be a good like starting point, because that dealership may have never had a stunt show before and they don't know either, but once the ideas start going, like, okay, well, how much space do you need? Okay, so then we need to block off X amount of space. How much money is going to be needed? Are we going to have food? Do we need a DJ? Are you going to announce? Like, all these like little details have to start getting worked out, but you still need that starting point of, how do I do this? Just approach the dealership to start the conversation.
So it goes back to what you're saying. Step foot into the dealership and start meeting people.
100%.
Because
step foot in here. The more I see you, the better it is.
Well, and not only that is, and this is what I've learned throughout my journey of all of this, is you really want to be comfortable with your marketing manager. You know what really fucking blows? This Lexan P5 Advanced Smart Tire Pump. It blows up to 150 PSI. So when you guys see me giving you free smoke all day, it's because I got my Lexan P5 with me and I'm able to change my tire anywhere I go. It's super compact and it could fit in your backpack or your saddlebags, and it also doubles as a phone charger. It's super fancy, comes with a digital adjustable setting that you just set and go. So loosen the pressure and get yourself a Lexan P5. And you can use my discount code GetVertical for 15% off lexan-moto.com. Like, I'm able to come to you and talk to you like a human being, not like you're someone on a pedestal that I'm scared of and I don't want to make the wrong move. I'm okay. It's okay for me to say something that may not be a good idea.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's not a good idea. That's not going to work for us. Or, no, you're not the best person to do a street ride, Drea. Like, I'm going to hire someone else. Okay, no problem. Like, okay, well, this is what I could do. I could do podcasts in your showroom floor. Great. Yeah, I love that idea. You know, that's what you already do. Let's focus on what you already do instead of something trying to fit you in a box that doesn't work for you.
Right.
You know?
Well, let's take your expertise, my expertise, our building, you know, and make something from that. Let us help each other.
And our first meeting, we talked about that kind of stuff. Like, I had a list of things. Okay, this is what we like to do.
Yeah.
We have a family. I do this podcast. I don't know what else. We do the shows. I don't know what else I brought up. And then you're like, okay, well, how can we work together? We'd love to do something. We just don't know where yet.
Right, yeah.
And
we started talking about women days, Delacruz stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we started talking about a lot. All these ideas started spinning, and now you're able to send me a text at 10 o'clock at night. Like, hey,
what do you think about this?
I have this crazy idea. Like, what do you think about it? Oh, my gosh. Okay.
No, that's not going to work, Drea.
But, yeah, that's, at the end of the day, like, what everyone wants, too. Like, send me those ideas. Because something could build off of it, or it could be an idea that's not going to work, but you could spin it into something that does work.
Yeah. But you need the collaboration to make it work, because as a rider, we don't know what you guys can do.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea you guys would provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
A 3-course meal.
Yeah, right? If we wanted to host a stunt ride or something, you know? But going to stunt rides, and I want to go back to shows later because it's such a huge topic, but we have some audience questions on that will lead us back to that. But for stunt rides, we've talked about this and the legality of it leaving a dealership. Mm-hmm. Can you touch on that a little bit?
And so this isn't the same for every dealership, because I've worked at dealerships that are small family-owned dealerships, and it's fine. They do what they want to do. They have stunt shows in their parking lot. They have rides that leave the parking lot. Not a big deal. Our facility, the facility that I specifically work at, we have some like dealership led rides, but we don't do a lot. So our goal is to have the stunt rides come here and leave here, and we'll provide the space. We can help with, breakfast if you're leaving in the morning, lunch if you're coming back. But we just want to be the meeting space for it, not going on the ride. So yes, there's legalities involved, because if something happens, then the dealership is, liable for those things. So we want to get around that by still helping you do your ride. Like, we want you to have your rides. I know a lawyer. Like, we both know lawyers. Like, but I can't be promoting for the ride all the time, but I can help you do things for your ride.
So you wouldn't necessarily be able to put like a stunt ride on a flyer or something? Is that what it is? We haven't touched base fully on this topic, because it's such a hit or miss with certain things. But from my understanding, no, I cannot promote for your stunt ride, because it's not safe. If you guys get pulled over, things happen, stuff like that leaves the dealership like, oh,
well, the dealership told us we could do it. No, we were just your starting point.
Yeah.
And so we try to like keep our hands clean in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to.
It's good to have your perspective because I feel like your dealership has a lot of tight rules.
We do.
A lot of tight rules, just because
We have a
of
lot
the
more
owner.
tighter rules than again, like I said, like a family-owned place that's
Mom
really
and
small.
pop.
Like if you're in the middle of nowhere, if you're in a small town, and that's the only dealership for miles, I guarantee you they have a lot less rules than, like a dealership chain that owns multiple dealerships. They work at more of like a corporation level with positions and things that they abide by, because with Harley-Davidson, those bigger dealerships are being looked at more. Like they're on the radar more. So the things that we advertise are looked at more. We can get fined more. There's things that we put on our flyers for discounts. Every single thing has to be approved by Harley. And if it's not, and we put it out there into the world to see, we'll get a fine for it.
By
By Harley. Oh, yes, by Harley
wow.
Corporate. So, I mean, you can get fines up to like $5,000 for putting, sale, clearance item, like things like that.
Wow,
like you
really?
cannot use certain words. I'm not saying that that leads back to, advertising for a stunt ride or anything like that. But those are like the little things that Harley dealerships still have to look out for. Like they have to abide by a lot of these rules. And then you put the bigger dealerships and the corporate dealerships into it, and they have to abide by a lot more rules than your small, average, like little hometown dealership that they're not going to be on Harley's radar every day.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want. I miss those days sometimes.
Yeah,
know?
free reign.
Yeah, free reign.
Well, I just heard when we were getting set up for the podcast, a woman approached you about a ride that she's hosting. Normal rider, not a stunt rider. So anyone listening that's like, well, I could never do this. I'm not a professional stunt rider that hosts stunt rides. It doesn't have to be a stunt ride. Actually, it's probably better if it's not, to be honest. But the woman approached you. She had a ton of ideas and came to you like a human being and said, I host this ride every year. How can we work together? Can you talk a little bit about that interaction and what was positive about it?
Yeah. So honestly, that interaction is interactions that I get on the daily. And those are the interactions that I like because these people are bringing me their ideas. Hey, I have this ride. Where do I go from here? So again, like, hey, I'm a stunt rider. I want to do something here. Like, where do I go from here? But yeah, that ride, female rider wants to do, a Halloween themed ride, and she's been hosting it at other dealerships around the valley for a couple years, and they're looking to switch it up, and they want to maybe bring it here and just bouncing some ideas off. They already have their poker stop runs set in stone, so something like that, like she's already been working on it. You don't even have to come with all that information. Like, it can just be a brainstorm idea. Like, hey, I want to do a Halloween ride. Like, what kind of dates do you have available? Where can we go from here? But that one was really good because she already had the weekend that she wanted to. She already had her poker stops in place. She just wanted to be able to leave from here. And her question was, if we leave from here and we have 50, 60 riders, what can you do for me? I can feed you. I can shut down the parking lot and give you the whole parking lot to like get ready in. We have food. We're going to have music that day. That specific day we already have things going on, but it just adds to the event. It's perfect. Those are the perfect things. It adds to the event. It makes it bigger.
And that's where it becomes a partnership.
Yes.
Because she wants her ride to be good.
Yeah.
So if you can't bring something to the table for, like, say she says, I want to bring this ride. I'm trying to decide on where to start at. And you're like, okay, well, I can't give you anything but a parking lot. then she might think about a different dealership
Yeah.
that will provide breakfast,
Yeah.
that will provide music, that will provide something for her riders to do while rallying everyone together.
Right.
So that's where it comes a true partnership where it's a win-win
For
and
everyone.
for
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, and this is coming from personal experience, sometimes, especially in the beginning days, you think that, oh, I have to come up with everything and I have to be the one that provides all the value. But really, it's both ways. Like,
Yeah.
how can you help each other?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll give this podcast, for example. I need a spot to podcast, but it's great advertisement for you guys, you know?
Oh,
And
it's a win-win for both
it's
of us.
absolutely
Like,
a win-win.
you've
I'm so
had a
grateful.
couple here on the floor now, and we've done it on a Saturday where typically Saturdays are a dealership's busiest days. We have everything blocked off. Customers are looking around like, what is going on? So, you had a couple a couple shows ago, you had someone here and everyone wanted to know who you were. Everyone wanted to know who the rider you were interviewing was. Like, it was good for everyone because
It's a
I
cool
feel
buzz.
like it was. I feel like both of you guys got, probably some new followers that day because people were looking you up on Instagram.
Cool.
The whole dealership was talking both of you up like, oh man, this chick can ride. Oh man, this guy is from here. Like, it was a good buzz all the way around. So it's like, it is helping the dealership. Like, people are wanting to know what's going on. And then you're sitting here and we get to show off the place. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So think of anything as what is going to be a win-win for both parties, because I want our vendors to be successful. I want our food trucks to be successful. I want our band to be successful. I want any hired entertainment, stunt riders, anything like that. I want them to be successful when they are here, because if they're successful, everyone is successful.
Yeah.
Every department is happy and everyone likes me. So
Then you get a raise.
let's hope.
So how beneficial is a ride?
Those are the best.
That's the best
That's the best.
because it gets the most people here.
Yes.
So these guys that are hosting these stunt rides or rides in general
Bring
have
'em here.
no idea. They're starting at a freaking random parking lot.
Or a
when they
gas
could be,
station, like,
Yeah,
fill
or
up with
gas-
gas across the street. Get over here.
Yeah, like why not support your local dealership or even a shop, that you care about.
Yeah.
Say you like, shout out to Gnarly's or Ramjet, and you care about that owner.
Yes.
And you want to help them. Coordinate with them a bike night. Coordinate with them like something.
Yeah.
So that you already host this huge, massive ride every year or every Friday night. How can you help your community around you?
Yeah.
And
Those are
build a
all
partnership.
perfect things. And it goes back to community. Like, be involved in your community and your dealership. Like, we would love to. It doesn't matter if somebody has, another garage and you think of it as like a direct competition. Like, we are all here for the same reason. It's because we love to ride our motorcycle. And if that's just building that enthusiasm, it still helps everybody. Like, you have your designated ride. Come here. If it's right, even if it's right before we leave. It's like, you guys got to use the bathroom. If that's all you're doing and stopping to do is grab a free water and go to the bathroom, it doesn't matter. At least you've still been to the dealership, you've stepped foot in it, and it could be somebody that's never been here before. So that's a win too, because it could be someone that's so against, like, any type of dealership or anything like that. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to buy everything you need from the dealership. Just attend the dealership. Like, be involved with your dealership. Support your dealership. Like, we want to support all of these groups and these, like, what are they called? Influencers. Like, they're groups, right? We want to support those, but we need their support too. We know you're not going to get your bike worked on here. We're not dumb. We know you're not going to order everything from the parts department. We know that. But at least be here and be involved. Like, we love seeing your stuff online. We love seeing your rides. So let's help each other and be involved in each other's things.
Yeah. So we touched on shows a little bit. We touched on street rides. Now, what are other creative ways that you've either worked with someone, another rider with, like partnered with them, or might have been a part of a collaboration but it just never went through? Like some creative ideas that other people could probably say, hey, I could do that for my local dealership.
Honestly, we've been trying to get better at this because I cannot execute it fully, and it's always very helpful if somebody else does, and we've only been able to execute it during Bike Week because so many people want to be involved with Bike Week. But get involved with a dealership in one of their events and host a bike show. Get all your friends to bring their cool bikes and help with trophies. I've seen the simplest things be made, on skateboards, on old spare parts being welded together. Bring something like that to a dealership. Hey, I'll be a guest judge. I'll help with some trophies. I can help get some sponsors from Ramjet, Bassani, something like that, just so that we're pitching in and we'll have a bike show or a show off, or biggest rat rod. It doesn't even it doesn't have to be show fancy bikes, or it could be the biggest piece of shit bike. I don't know. But
we might be able to work something out on the biggest piece of shit bike. I got a lot of friends with one of those.
I do too. But make it fun. That's one thing that us as a dealer wish that we could get better at. Because usually it's just us hosting a bike show. But if you're an influencer group, or you shouted out Gnarly's, you want to host a bike show? I'll be a judge. That's just an example, but something like that. That'd be. I feel like it's easy. I just need someone else to take
reins
over on something like that. We're doing all this other stuff. Oh man,
I don't know if that's easy.
I don't know either. But I mean,
there's people that do it, but they're in the world SMT
of bike shows and stuff.
Yeah, SMT, they know all the people with the nice bikes because they sell nice wheels.
You're
so
right.
They can rally those type of people together.
But maybe that's where it comes in of what you were talking about, how you had this checklist of this is what I like, this is what I like to do,
this is where can I fit in.
So where can I fit in? So maybe somebody likes art, or somebody does airbrush. Come and set up a display or something one day and paint on site. I don't know.
Oh, I love that. So you don't necessarily have to be influencer.
Yeah.
Maybe you love painting, but you love motorcycles too.
Yeah.
And
we have art days
I love
set up.
Oh yeah, you do paint
we
sips.
do, yeah. Set up during something like that. And
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know.
No, that's solid, because there's things that you don't really think of how you can help your dealership.
Yeah.
And
but sometimes
you have to get crafty.
Well, and sometimes the crazy ideas are the ones that work. We didn't even really know that something like a paint and sip would be successful, but we in our dealership have a tattoo shop, so it kind of went hand in hand, and they were able to help us out and lead that, but we supplied the space. We got the drinks. We got the food.
Yeah.
We did stuff like that, and they had somebody that led the paint class. So it worked for both of us. It was a partnership.
And it's kind of cool because if you want to host something even a party or something, this is a free venue. As long as it works for
if it goes
parties.
hand in hand, we do rent out our venue spaces for weddings and movies and stuff like that. But if you're having a ride here, if you're having some kind of event that goes with something that we're already doing, or something that kind of falls in line with something that we can make a bigger thing out of, it could potentially be a free venue. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
It depends
also,
on what you're doing.
If you're hot, you can advertise the clothing.
Yeah.
If you're hot.
I mean,
if you're hot. Okay.
So does that mean that we need to get you in like some of these shirts so we can start getting pictures?
Yeah,
of you?
I'm down. I'm down for it. Okay, I seriously cannot be the only one that does not trust insurance companies. Don't you feel like they never pay you what you deserve for your accident? That's why I always call Law Tigers. They're specialized motorcycle attorneys. Yes, there's a difference between motorcycles and cars. That's why you need to call Law Tigers, because they are the experts and you are not. And what's dope about them is you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. It comes out of your settlement. So if they don't get you paid, then they don't get paid. And the best part is once you call them, they take care of everything for you. You don't have to think about it at all until you're signing the paperwork saying case closed. Don't let these insurance companies screw you over. Call Law Tigers and tell them that Drea sent you. If you're local to Arizona, call my boy Jay. I'll leave his info in the description below. Okay, so I want to get to some of the audience questions because each one might take a while.
Okay.
And there's some, man, people came up with some good ones. I think
How many are there?
There's not that many. Well, actually there is. Okay, so this, I wanted to bring this question up because it's actually a good one, and it's something that I've encountered before with a different partnership. But Chad Weiss wants to know, how would you promote stunt riding to a dealership that doesn't understand it?
That's hard because your Harley community is such like an
Tight
old
asses.
soul.
Yeah.
They are. That some of them it is taking longer than others. Man. Why didn't you give me this one to practice earlier?
I thought I did.
That's hard. I might have to think about that.
That is a hard one.
It is hard because, I mean, my suggestion would to be still find someone like young in the dealership or maybe like in the scene with you or something that you go on those night rides with, or that comes to your local stunt spot. Like, invite one of them to come see what it is. Or if you have had a show somewhere, we've had people send us shows that they've done in the past, like pictures of it, and the crowds, like maybe if they're not accustomed to it or they're not down for it yet, send them what the results could be.
I think this is what I would think of is start off where Emily was saying, go into your dealership and build relationships. To be honest, if they're that old and they don't like stunt riding, that's not the dealership you want to work with.
That, or do something like the stunt ride. If they can't have a stunt show per se, like on site, at least see if maybe you can like host a ride that leaves the dealership. That way all the stunt riders are there and they're stopping in, and maybe that will get that dealership like, hey, maybe these guys aren't so bad after all. Like, maybe start there. Start with something small and then maybe try to work your way to something like that.
Or like if you build a relationship with
build
them.
that's what I'm saying. Like, start it small and build it to that.
Build a relationship, and then you say, oh, by the way, did you know I'm a professional stunt rider?
Yeah.
Use the word professional, even if it seems so cringe. You are a professional stunt rider if you're trying to collect money for it. I don't care if you've never done it before. You're trying to. You know, you're trying to
sell yourself as a professional.
Yeah,
yes.
because if you don't say professional, they think you're a fucking hooligan. You know, so like.
Well, yeah, I don't want to hire no Joe Smo off the street. Like,
exactly.
I am going to hire a professional stunt rider. That way I feel better about it at the end of the day. Like, so yes, sell yourself as a professional.
I love that. Yeah, so sell yourself as a professional, and then slowly just keep showing up. And then they're like, oh, well, I really like that Chad guy. He won't stop showing up. I know he does wheelies and burnouts, and he keeps talking about doing a show here. We don't necessarily like wheelies and burnouts because that's a 100th anniversary classic or whatever. Eventually, it'll grow on them if they know you and they like you. Yeah, they like you.
Just build a relationship.
Exactly. So if you really want to work at that dealership, just
suck
keep
up
showing up.
your swallow your pride sometimes and just be the nice guy, like, or be the nice gal person that goes to your dealership and
keep showing up.
Just try to make that relationship. Like, it really, if you're that nice person that they see, they will eventually give in a little bit. It may not be everything that you want, but at least it'll start building.
And speaking on that relationship, I think a lot of people will ask one too soon without
Maybe.
building that relationship, or they will get a no and then say fuck them then. Have you ever experienced something like that?
Yes. A lot. And then they start bashing the dealership, like, fuck that dealership. Dude, we said no to one thing. It doesn't mean that we don't want to work together. Like, we would love to work together. We just need to find a common ground that allows us to work together.
So I think that goes with setting aside your ego.
Yes.
Like, don't take it so personally. Like, a no doesn't mean a no forever. It just means I can't make it happen this bike week or this particular event.
Yeah.
I want to figure it out and make it work. But
and please be open. Like, that's why I feel like we are able to talk the way that we do, because we are open and we are able to take that no for an answer. But again, like, it sometimes is not a no. It's sometimes of, I can't do this, but how can we tweak it to where we can do it? So again, like, you may not be getting your 100% yes and be happy with the outcome, but it could be tweaked to where it's a compromisable thing to where you're still benefiting each other.
Yeah. So don't give up and
Don't give up.
Don't say fuck them, I'm going somewhere else.
Don't give up.
Or like, I'm never fucking with them again.
If the answer is no, figure out why the answer is no and how to change it to where something else can happen, or just, again, like, to fix the no part. That's all you have to do.
Because a no is not necessarily a no. It's just like that specific thing won't work for this dealership.
Can I have a stunt show in the parking lot on this night? No, you can't. But we can maybe do this game on this night with you judge or some, you know what I mean? Like, it could be this, it just can't be that.
Mm-hmm.
So keep trying.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay, so going on to shows, twin cam Kaysen. Sorry, I'm probably butchering that. Do I need my own insurance, or does the dealership insurance cover a stunt show?
Depends on it depends on the dealership. So some stunt riders do carry their own insurance, and it definitely makes it easier because then I don't have to worry about it. It makes it 10 times easier if the rider already carries their own. You know, I'm going to throw out Twin Stunts because I've hired them quite a few times, and they carry their own insurance, so it's very easy for me to take that. That's one less stressful thing that I have to worry about. But I'm working with Bruce in a couple of weeks, and we have figured out our insurance, and it's a few more steps. It's a little more complicated for your dealership, but it'll work.
Insurance is the hardest part about it.
It's the hardest part of having a show at any given point in time.
It's the hardest part because, one, it's extremely expensive.
So expensive.
And then it's so expensive to the point where it's like doesn't make financial sense for the rider or the dealership.
And that's why some dealerships are so against shows. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes the dealership wants to do a show. It's just that they can't financially justify doing a show. Like, for some dealerships, paying for a show and insurance means that they're going to have to turn around and sell 3 to 5 motorcycles that day. Are you going to guarantee that the dealership is going to sell 5 motorcycles from your show? You can't do that. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
And so some dealerships...
That's a lot of pressure, too.
So some dealerships have to weigh it that way. Some dealerships have funds that are set up for things like that. And, but your everyday smaller hometown dealership, they're not going to spend $5,000-$10,000 on a stunt show and have all the proper insurance like needed, whatever they need. Every state varies, but it's expensive.
It's so expensive. And that's something that something that you really want to consider before quoting someone a price on a show, because there's been times where you'll quote a dealership or an event a certain price, and then they hit you with, well, you need insurance after you sign a contract or make the deal.
Definitely make that a conversation.
So you have to say before you quote anything, you need to make sure that they don't want insurance. Make sure that they're cool. They're going to provide the barriers, or are they wanting you to provide it? And
or
then,
if they even care about that. So I've been to some places they don't even have barriers.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It just all depends.
And
on
they don't care about
what
insurance.
they need. Yeah, some places just make you sign waiver, like ride waivers. It just depends, but you 100% have to ask that kind of stuff before.
Another question I just learned is you need to ask them if they're going to tax you. Are they going to
how are they going to pay you?
Are they going to write you a clean check, or are they going to send you a 1099 form as an independent contractor? Because if they send you a 1099 form, they might be, and you really have to clarify it, because they'll say, yeah, no, I'm not going to tax you, but I'm just going to send you a 1099 form later. Like, no, you're still taxing me. Are you going to write me a check?
Like during tax season or whatever?
Yeah, are you going to write me a check, or are you 1099ing me? That's two different things, because you could, okay, this is tax advice, but 1099 means they're going to send you a basically a W-2 form at the end of the, what is it, W-2? W-4.
Yes, W-4.
It's basically a W-4 form for independent contractors, and then you have to pay taxes on that money that you made at the show. So this is where you get fucked. If you're the one organizing the show and you say, okay, I'm going to have 4 riders. Each rider is going to get $1,000, so it's going to be $4,000 for the dealership. But then they hit you as the organizer for a $4,000 1099 form at the end of the year.
Then you're the one getting taxed, not the riders, because you just paid out the riders.
You just paid out your friends $1,000 each, and now you owe $500 at the end of the year on that show. And so you only got paid $500 for that show. Just hot tip. Replay that.
Keep that in mind.
Okay, so anyways, insurance is a bitch.
It is, it's the most complicated.
I'm absolutely convinced, and I've talked to you about this, that most people get static car insurance, meaning it's a static car show where there's no key in the ignitions, cars are not moving, and there's no gas in the tank. That type of insurance. And I can almost guarantee you 99% of the riders are getting that, which covers absolutely nothing, which is fine. If you want to do that and you want to lie to your dealership, fine.
And that's where it becomes stressful for your dealership, because I don't want to speak for everyone, but at the end of the day, I'm not really concerned with the riders getting hurt. I'm worried about the crowd. I want nothing to happen to the crowd. I cannot have a motorcycle fly into a barrier and someone get hit with something. Or we have like the last man standing burnout competition. Do you know how many times I've been pelted in the shins with hot burning rubber?
Yeah,
it's fun. We love being out there, but I can't have
a child,
little kids or something like that getting just pelted with hot burning rubber. If something happens, I can't have that.
Well, that also goes back to experienced stunt riders.
Exactly.
Because that's a conversation we have at our riders meeting, is don't point your tire towards the crowd. Mm-hmm. And I see so many stunt riders doing that in shows and competitions even. Yeah. Where they'll point their tire towards the crowd, and one, they'll smoke them out, and two, they're throwing hot burning rubber into their faces.
I mean, everyone's in the moment at that time, so it makes sense. Everyone is super hyped. Everyone goes where the smoke is. You want the video of it. I totally get it. It's just, from the dealership standpoint, that's where we're sitting in the background cringing, oh my God, please no one get hurt, please, so we're panicking, the dealership is panicking, so we're thinking about it from the safety aspect of it, of our crowd, the innocent bystanders. We know you guys are used to falling and crashing and shit happens. You guys know that. The crowd doesn't.
Absolutely. Yep, that's a good one. Okay, so the next one. Campo Slides. What is their current most effective marketing pitch, team, or strategy? And I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but
Yeah, I'm not.
I guess I'll break it down to what's the most effective way to market. Oh, that's a tricky question. What's the current most effective marketing pitch, team, or strategy? Okay, we'll put it in the perspective of a stunt rider.
Okay. So read it again.
What's the most effective? You hire the twin stunts a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they carry their own insurance and they're very professional to work with.
What does that mean? Break that down a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah. Their videos are clean. They have good music most of the time. Like, yes, they have a good following. It's only grown since I've met them. Like, we've hired them for the last 4 or 5 years, I think, and it's bigger every year. But they have a team that markets for them, so it's kind of easy on their part. But it does boil down to their Instagram and them as human beings. Like, they interact with you very cordial. They're very friendly. They're always nice. They're always in a good mood. They come to bring the fun. They come to bring the party. They're just always very upbeat people. We don't see them trying to fight someone in the parking lot. Oh, we're going to be in Phoenix this weekend. Meet me there. I see people having arguments online all the time of, hey, Arizona, get your shit together. We have to go to California to do this. Who is that helping? Hire the best in the world. You guys are shit because you don't do that. Who is that helping? It's not helping anyone. It's definitely not helping you.
Yeah.
If you're professional online, if you're professional with your friends, your colleagues, they come in, they have conversations with our GM. They make it a point to come and introduce themselves. Hey, we're Shannon and Sawyer. Nice to meet you. We're here the day before. You guys need us to move anywhere? Just let us know. They're very approachable. Just be approachable.
They're easy to work with.
Don't have that arrogant, self-esteem, and because it boils off into your it stinks on you. Come on, just be a nice human being.
Yeah.
It's what it boils down to. If you're friendly and you have that positive attitude and the professionalism of just being able to hold a conversation with somebody, it goes a long ways.
Yeah.
A long ways.
Well, I definitely learned a lot watching their show. And how
it's not chaos.
How they presented themselves.
Yeah.
And how they functioned as a business.
Yeah.
Period. That's what they are. They're a business.
They are a business.
And it's a lot different. And I see that with the Bassani stunt team too. It's professional, there's a routine. It's not just full-blown chaos. There's an actual plan.
Yes.
That goes into their riding.
They have a
and
plan
their show
each time too. It's different each time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, most of your shows, you book for three shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the whole event, and then you have 2 or 3 different show times, right? You guys have a different thing planned out for each one of them. That's what they do. They practice it. If you're going to, do a show by yourself or with somebody, get a routine going. It's just like a dance routine. You're doing a ballet. You have to have your routine. Do the same thing every time. That way you're used to it. Don't go out there trying to do brand new tricks on your first day.
Absolutely.
That you're not going to nail. Do what you do what you're good at, and make it perfect. One
thing that I know a lot of people might see, the twin stunts or the Bassani stunt team, they're like, but how do I even get there? I am just starting, and they don't realize that the twin stunts came from exactly where you guys are.
Yes.
I remember them when they were.
You guys came from there.
Yeah, I remember them when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
So it's But every time they did a show, they invested that money back into their business, because that's what it is. They bought a tent.
They bought their pop-ups. They're
Yeah.
buying drones. They're buying good cameras for good quality videos. They're making sure that them or someone is doing something on their social media, like, to push things out. Like, they're making good videos. And it's just like, dude,
Yes.
we use CapCut for the dealership. Like, it's a simple app. It's
Yeah.
not that hard. Download it. Make some good videos. Put some trending music on there that doesn't have the F-bomb. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Pick some good music. Pick trendy music that's still appropriate. Wear your helmet.
Be professional.
Be professional. Be
Yeah.
nice.
Yep. Yep.
Don't talk shit on social media.
That's the hard part, because I see a lot of people, they talk shit on social media thinking, because that's just, one, their personality, but two, it gets views.
And it does. Some of it does. But what kind of views do you want to get?
Good or bad.
Or who are you trying to present yourself to? Are you trying to do stunt shows for bars, like the what is it, the Unleashed, the beer? Or whatever?
Unleash
Or-
the Beast.
Yeah,
or whatever.
and who is it? The team,
Concrete
Cowboys. That's an awesome team. They're doing it good, but they're presenting themselves to a different market. They are presenting themselves to the party crowd, to drinking, stuff like that, which is great. It's working for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to do the same thing and trying to get into a dealership, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Because those are two different, I mean, yes, we're all here for the stunt scene, but those are two different markets that you're trying to, like, get to. We can't promote beers and jumping off school buses. I wish. That shit's cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
No wonder they get the views.
Yeah.
But as a dealership, we can't do that. So it also has to be what you're trying to, like, market yourself to as well.
Well,
if you want to do that, good.
Yeah, I love that you brought it up, because I've brought them up before too, because the party scene is working for them.
It is. It's great.
Absolutely working for them. And I think it comes down to being true to who you are as a person, because I could never get sponsored by that Unleash the Beast monster company, because I don't drink like they do. Like, that's just not my brand. You know, I'm more of, like, family oriented, I guess female empowerment. I don't know what people see in me, but it's just not what I promote on social media.
Exactly. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. To each their own.
Yeah.
But you just have to know your crowd. Like,
Yes.
if you're going to try to promote yourself to a dealership, maybe think about, like, that as well. Like, who are you trying to sell yourself to?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think looking at the sport bike scene, like the Twin Stunts,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how they function and getting tips or taking notes from how the sport bike scene has progressed professionally, and then move it over to the Harley scene. Like,
Yes.
it's the same platform.
It is.
It's the same recipe. It's just you gotta figure out how it works for Harleys, you know? And the Twin Stunts are very professional, and I love watching their show.
I love watching their show, but to be fair, though, I would rather watch a Harley stunt show than a sport bike show.
Yeah.
But I like watching the twins because they have their routine.
Yep.
They have everything dialed in, and, like, they're fun, they're entertaining, they interact with the crowd. They're not just, like, in the zone, like, not looking at anyone the whole time. Like, the crowd still wants you to acknowledge, like, hey, we're here, we're
Yes.
clapping, like,
And
talk to me,
crowd
give me a high five.
crowd interaction after.
It's a huge thing.
And that's the thing that I've noticed is the difference between 90% of the Harley stunt shows and the Bassani stunt show. We do poster signings
yes,
after.
do it.
That's huge.
It is
That's a
huge.
big deal, dude. For a kid to walk away with something to hang on their wall, or walk away with something that they felt like they got something.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big deal. Like, that matters to them, and they're taking pictures, posting on their social media, tagging Scottsdale Harley. Like, it's a big deal, and that's why people are booking Delacruz. That's why people booking Bassani Stunt Team.
Yes.
because of those reasons.
The customer experience as well. That's what makes it. Like,
Absolutely.
well, just like you said, the little kid that gets the poster or the picture, that could be the very day one where that kid is like, I'm going to get a motorcycle. And, like, that's the thing that he grows up in 10 years from now. He's asked, what got you into motorcycling? I was at the stunt show when I was 10 years old, and they gave me a picture and a poster, and I've wanted to ride a motorcycle ever since.
I love that.
That's what happens all the time.
Yeah.
So just think about that. Like,
Totally.
Stunners, think about that. Like, you know, when you were a kid, like, you're trying to get semis to honk their horn and stuff like that. It's the same thing. Like, make that kid's day.
Yeah.
They will grow up and want to be just like you.
Yeah, at the end of the show, at the end of the Bassani show, we loved for the crowds to come out, sit on our bikes, take pictures with us. You know,
Yeah, they love
that's
it.
so huge.
It is huge.
It's a big
Yeah.
deal with all the burnt rubber everywhere, you know. It's a big deal.
It
So,
is,
like, to
yeah.
make it more of a show than just like doing stunts and just chaos and just chaos versus a routine and crowd interaction and engagement, it's so different. So I think that's what separates a lot of professional stunt shows versus amateur stunt shows.
Yeah. Well, and, like, think about that when you're selling yourself as a professional, too. Like, what are you going to do during your show? What are you going to do after your show?
And handbrakes. I'm not just saying this. Look at the best. I mean, Concrete Cowboys are one thing. Bassani Stunt Show. How many people on that team have handbrakes? All of them,
Do we
except
need to get
maybe
Kyle
one.
Here?
Yeah, I know, right? and I'm serious. It's because you can do more things, and that's what it's about. Is entertainment. You know, like, they don't care that you're hand dragging. They can only watch hand drags so many times. Like,
Well,
the crowd doesn't care.
And to be fair, too, a lot of the people that are going to be going to the shows, too, they don't know the difference. They
Yes.
don't know what you're doing.
They don't care about
They
the
don't
drama
know if
in
you're
the stunt
doing
scene.
a high chair and to
Yeah.
double knee. Like,
Yeah.
They don't know what that is. They see someone, like, able to wheelie a road glide. They're like, mind blown.
Yeah.
I have a road glide. I've been riding a road glide for years. I can't do that. Or they see you, like, on your bike. They're like, how is that even possible? Like, they don't care about the technical everything.
Details.
Like, just keep that in mind, too. Like, just nail your tricks, and the people don't.
Well, and
just give them a
while we're
show.
at it, people's argument about the foot brake thing, just real quick, and we can move on, is that people will want to relate to you and relate to your bike when you're doing a show or whatever, and that's why they want handbrake or foot brake. However, they don't know how to wheelie, so they don't even know you're using a rear brake at all. So there's my argument on that. They don't know if it's handbrake, foot brake, or if you're even using one at all. Okay, so next one. So this is kind of, I know the answer is going to be a little bit vague, but Big's World. What does it look like to be a sponsored rider through a dealership?
So I can't really answer for a sponsored rider, but just a sponsored, like, influencer through a dealership would be that sponsored person is probably coming in and taking pictures in the motor clothes, like the new arrivals, like the clothing and stuff like that. That way they're putting it on their social media. You know, I don't really want to shout them out, but I feel like Dixon does a really good job at stuff like that. Like, they are always reaching out to, like, influencers to come and model their stuff. So, like, if you're a sponsored somebody, like, you should be taking pictures for the dealership, sharing their stuff. If they get a new bike in, you're sharing that kind of stuff. Probably have some kind of discount code through the parts department that the parts department can then track of how well that's working. I know you probably have codes for, like, Lexan and stuff like that, you know, they track that for you, right? They show how many times it's getting used and stuff like that. So
they want to make sure
they're getting a
return,
an ROI on it. So, you know, they're probably measuring stuff like that, and they're probably wanting stuff like that. I know a sponsored influencer just got like a Pan America from a bike in California, from a dealership in California, and their agreement on it was that he had to go and ride it across the state and make all of these videos and stuff like that, and then when he was posting them, he had to collab the videos with the dealership and stuff like that.
So I'm betting, I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm betting that rider came to a dealership and said, I'm looking for a partnership. I have this idea. I want to do a series of videos on YouTube with a Pan America bike. Would you be willing to sponsor the bike for me?
Yeah.
Maybe they're not getting monthly payment. I don't know their contract, but they might have gotten a free bike.
Yeah. So, and I don't know all the details of what they've worked out, but I also know that their relationship started a lot prior to the Pan America. So it's worked up to getting a Pan America, you know, like they started coming to the events. They started being a vendor there. They started
showing up
by doing a bike show. They started by hosting their rides that would leave there and go other places. Like all these places, all these people want to go and ride to a bar. That's fine. We don't serve beer. Dealerships know that. So start here and go ride to your bar. We don't care. But that's what this person in California was doing. So he's now established with this dealership. He has a podcast. They gave him a whole room to do his podcast in. So now he airs it from there. That dealership is now sponsoring that. So they're helping each other. And now his YouTube channel is just growing and growing and growing. And they came up with this idea that he was going to go take that bike. So yeah, the same thing could happen. Like, you just have to start. You have to start that relationship. They're not just going to give you a bike right off the bat.
I think what it is you don't ask a girl to sleep with them on your first date.
Oh, you don't?
I mean, some, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't just cold.
You have to build the relationship.
Turkey it. Yeah, you have to build the relationship. They have to trust you, is what it comes down to, because they can't hand you over a bike and then you just do nothing with it.
They have to see that they're already getting a value from your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part to figure out. Also, because when thinking about all these sponsorship questions, and I was just talking to a customer that was asking about the podcast when I was setting up, that it's hard because there's no playbook, like we were saying, because it's different for every single relationship. Every single relationship is going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can't necessarily say, I get $1,000 an hour a month from this dealership, but for what? Well, it's going to be different. It's going to look different for you and me. You know, I could provide something different that another rider can't.
Right.
And they can provide something different that I can't.
Yeah.
So
for certain things, I'm going to go to you for it. And then for certain things, I'm going to go to this chick over here for it because she's better at it or you're better at it.
Exactly. And the payment's going to be different, or it might be more, or it might be less, or it might be the same. Or it might not be even payment. It might be parts, discount on parts. It might be this. It just depends on the negotiation, the relationship, and what you can provide. That's all it comes down to, and the dealership. So one dealership might be able to give something that another dealership can't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, that's why there's no playbook, and that's why there's no like, this is how you become a sponsored rider, because you got to figure it out on your own.
And all dealerships they're privately owned too, so. Yes, like from my point of view, it sucks when I have to tell somebody no and then they move on and go to another dealership and that dealership says yes. Like, that sucks. But that's the way of the game. I don't stop talking to that person because they had to move, their event or their thing to someone else because I couldn't accommodate them for that day. So, sometimes it happens. Like, just know that certain places can give you certain things. Certain other places can give you these things. Like, everyone's relationship they're all puzzle pieces.
Totally. Okay, so we kind of touched on this, but if there's any last things you want to say, this is still a really good question. Trailer Park Joe wants to know, what are the main qualities you look for in a stunt rider or team before booking a show?
So again, it just goes back to the professionalism and what you can provide compared to what I have to provide. So it's just gonna it's gonna be your professionalism, your cost, the insurance, safety barriers. Like it all contributes back to that.
Do you recommend them building a relationship with you prior, or can they cold turkey it and DM you with ideas?
I mean, I love getting ideas. Just, I also feel that it's very important that you come during an event. That way it's not weird, or like you can even make it seem like you're there for the event, that you're not there just to talk to the marketing person. Like, just casually be there. Be like, hey, so I heard you're in marketing. Like, I have this idea. Then that starts it. Okay, I'll DM you. DM the page. Or if you do have a bunch of those ideas, not just, hey, I have an idea and I want a stunt ride. That, I'm sorry, but that doesn't really work. Like, hey, I want to present myself to you as a stunt rider. I have done X amount of shows, and I would love to try to work something out with you for coming up in fall. And if we can't do something for fall, maybe in the spring. Like, at least send, like, not a one-liner, like, you know, give it a few details or something. Like, I don't know. It just, the better the conversation can go and, like, the more detail, the better it is for the one on the other end to, like, respond to it. Like, you don't want to respond to somebody in your DMs that's like, what's up?
Or like, hey, you want to sponsor me?
Hi.
I'm a dope rider.
Like, that it doesn't work. Like, give me more than a sentence. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. That's just goes back to, like, dating.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, dating. Like, nobody wants to get a DM that says, what's up? What you doing?
How's your day? Oh, God. Cringe.
Give me a little bit more context than that.
Mm-hmm. So, then what is the goal from your perspective of having a stunt show? Outside Easy wants to know.
So, like, the end of the day, like, goal from having a stunt show? So from a marketing standpoint, is to get the people here. I can only, you know, lead a horse to water. I can't make it drink. So at the end of the day, like, my job is to get people here. So if people are here and people are having a good time, all the vendors are happy, like, people were gathered around watching the stunt show, that's a successful day for me or anyone in marketing or events, because your event was busy. From a dealership's, like, standpoint, a successful day is all the departments were busy. They were, you know, interacting with people.
Sales.
They were selling clothing. They were, you know, selling parts. We had some motorcycles be sold. That, at the end of the day, is always going to be the main goal, but also know that, like, the more people that we have here, the better the goal or the outcome for that will be, because some people, again, have never stepped foot here before. So getting them here is just goal number one, and it's good for everyone.
Yeah, that's good. So that's how you kind of you gauge the success of a particular event.
Selling motorcycles, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how the dealership stays in business. You got to pay the bills somehow.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Motorcycle sales are what is going to do that. So, yeah, but, I mean, you're getting that interested rider by having a show like that. So if they're coming in and they're looking at, you know, the new Softails on the floor or a used Dyna outside, like, that's a win.
They need to sell bikes, guys. That's the whole
so come buy a bike.
goal. Well, thank you, Emily. I appreciate you sharing your expertise, because I know it's not easy to talk about some of this stuff. A lot of people can't talk about it, or it's just a tough subject.
It varies for everyone. So not everything that I said may work for, you know,
someone's particular.
Chad's small hometown dealership in Washington, but it could work for San Diego. You know, you just never know. But just approach the dealership. That's all I can say.
Totally. Well, thank you. I love you.
I love you.